we've written a binary program, and it runs, and it's free of errors and bugs. And I believe I mentioned once or twice that it is possible to run your computer solely off of your binary program. That means no Windows, no Linux, no operating system, nada. Only what you wrote. In order to do that, we want to set it up as bootable media. So you could write it to a hard drive, but that's not really necessary. It is possible for your computer to boot off of other types of media, such as a CD or a USB flash. So prerequisite for this assignment is a USB flash drive. And of course, you want a computer that you're not too concerned about messing around with. Nothing to worry about, of course. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? You are dealing with a seasoned professional here. And ow! Okay, so let's see, where was I? We're going to look first. Let's look in our assembly folder. There's our binary, and there's my USB. But you can't just drag this over there onto the USB and boot off of it, unfortunately. No, you have to write it to the disk itself, so it's not encapsulated in a file. So one thing, first you might want to check on your USB, make sure there's nothing important that's going to get wiped out. Okay, good to go. And without waiting any longer, folks, first thing you want to do, click down here in the search and type disk part. The disk partitioning tool that comes with Windows, and you have to type the full name, and then it pops up here, and then you can hit enter. And then I got a yes or no dialog that you probably didn't see, but you just click OK, and you're in disk part. Okay. First thing we want to do, list disk. There. And there is our list of media. I have supposedly a 500 gigabyte SSD drive, super fast, very nice, and 32 gigabyte flash that I put in there. Says 29 here, but close enough. So we want to select this disk. To do that, you can type select, or just use the shortcut disk 1. And of course, you want to select whatever disk number is your flash drive. Don't just type disk 1, because I did. Make sure you have the correct number. I am not responsible for. I wash my hands of any mistakes you make here. Okay, disk is now selected. And now, if it does not say this, do not proceed any further, because you could stand the chance of wiping out something you don't want to. You can also verify. We'll type list disk a second time, and you can see that there's an asterisk next to our flash drive. Okay, good. We are selected. So we are free and clear to go clean, and that was fast. Will wipe out everything. Your master boot record, any hidden files or Microsoft data or anything. It is completely empty. If you were to quit the program now, it would no longer pop up on your desktop. It is gone. So until we put a little bit of info on there for the system can see. So we need to create a partition first, and again, you can type the full name, but you don't have to. You can go create partition, and it's a primary partition, and we can also specify the size, and I'm just going to make a teeny tiny 64. Why 64? Because I tried other sizes, and that's the smallest I could get away with. And just double check your typing always in this program. This is not where you want to make any errors. Okay, successful. Okay, so now we want to make it active. So we can type active, or we can just act like we're typing active, and that makes it assigns it as the bootable drive now. Okay, so next we're going to format it. And the file system equals, let's see, FAT32. Okay, and while we're here, we can put a label on it. This label won't persist later. It will be gone, but it will come in handy interstitially in a moment. And also very important, you want to add quick. And let me just double check everything in the spelling. And you definitely want to double check everything twice. Because if you don't say quick, here, let me just hit enter. Bada boom. There, that took about 1 second. If you didn't say quick, it would have taken maybe 40 minutes, time to go out for pizza or something. Next, it is formatted. We can assign it. You can type assign or just use the expletive. And it pops up. Our system now recognizes bootme as a disk. I can Alt F4 to close the active window. So that is a teeny tiny little partition. Now we can create another partition to use on use up the rest of the disk. Partition primary, and we don't have to specify the size. We're just going to use up all the rest that's left. Format file system equals. Now I could go with if it was Windows only, you could say NTFS. Yeah, not that freaking swift. But if we are, I like to use extra fat, because I like extra fat, extra salt, extra gluten, and peanuts on top, But the difference, what's nice about this is it's readable by both Linux and Windows. So you can go either way. Yeah. Label equals, we'll call this one stormy weather. And again, don't forget to make it snappy, and don't forget to double check your spelling before you commit. Good to go. We're all formatted. We have dual partition on our flash. We can assign that, and good. Alt F4 out of there. So both of them are recognized by Windows. We may now type exit, and hit enter, and we are out of there. Okay, so next thing we want to do is find our binary. Assembly. There it is. We'll just double click and open it up in our hex editor. There. We want to look down here and make sure that we haven't any overflows, that it's only 512 bytes, which it is. You could start down here at the bottom and start dragging up, or just click anywhere here and go Control A. There, now all the code is selected, and you can Control C, or I'll just use the visual aid here for your benefit. Copy, and then we'll go over here under Tools, Open Disk, or you can go Control Shift D. Yeah. And here we go. There's where the bootme part came in handy. Then you can verify that that's the bootable disk. Also, you want to deselect this checkbox because we don't want read-only. We're going to write on it. Yar! Ye who go beyond this point have been forewarned. We are not responsible for damage, and neither am I. Yes, ye have been forewarned, and if ye do not want to be forewarned again in the future, you may put your mark here, Okay, so, whoa, bunch of intimidating code. What's all this? This is your partitioned disk. There's your boot me, see? And there you go. There's a FAT32, and you're copyrighted by MS-DOS. Of course, Microsoft puts their copyright on everything, technically. Anything you've ever written on your PC is copyrighted by Microsoft. Here we go. So if we were to just try to boot off of this now, it would give us this disk error. Press any key to restart. That's all that's on there. Well, we would like something more on there than just that, something we can actually boot off of. Observe here. I don't know if you can see this on your monitors on YouTube, but there's like a fine gray line here on the last line under 1FO. That indicates a 512 byte sector. And if I go down a little more, there is another gray line. Oh, and another magic number and some mystery code. And there's another 512. If we go down a bit more, there is our next partition. You see? Okay, so back to the top, all the way up to the top. There. Starting here. Okay, I'm just going to drag across all of that and double check, make sure I got only the magic number and I got all that. And then we're going to go paste right, or you can go Control B. There we go. And it is pasted over. We'll go save. There is no undo. There is no safety net here. You are past the point of no return, and there is most certainly not an undo button. When you're working in lower level programming here, you are on your own, taking matters into your own hands. I wash my hands of the situation when you click yes. All right. So there you go. Believe it or not, this should be a bootable USB flash. Those of you that know how to boot off of a flash can just plow right on ahead. I wish we'll first mention, as you know, before, we'd have our little heart or happy face or whatever on the screen, and we would just hit Control Alt, Alt F4 to get out of the window. Well, we don't have that anymore. Your computer's not going to Alt F4 unless you program it in there. So, as you know, you're just going to have to turn the computer off and then restart again when you're done. Now, when you do, of course, you'll boot back into Windows, right? And then you put your USB back in, and right away Windows may tell you there's a problem with this disk. Do you want to format it? And just say no. See, the thing is, we have just wiped out all of the Microsoft data on there, whatever it needs to look at, to tell what type of disk it is and whatever else hidden code they have in there, and they don't like that. Microsoft, has to have their copyright on everything, so it may raise a stink, about that, but don't worry about it. It's not a problem for your computer. We're just printing a character to the screen, Okay, so there you go, folks. For those of you that know how to boot off of a USB, go right on ahead. You don't need to listen to me anymore in this video. For those of you that don't know how to boot off a USB, it's fairly, it's hardware specific to your system. Each is different, so I can't just do a tutorial. And so you basically have to look up your computer model number. So like if you have an HP, you look up HP, if you have a Dell, look up Dell, but that's not good enough. You need the model number like Inspiron, and then still not good enough because, every company, they have, Inspiron laptop, and then they have an Inspiron desktop and Inspiron small form factor, and they may not have the same BIOS, so you want to make sure you have your model number as well, and then you might as well add USB into the search, and then there you go, so then you find boot from USB. All right, and then there'll be a bunch of guys you can't understand a word they're saying, and it's always all shaky, because it's some guy trying to work with one hand and film it with his cell phone. Why is that? Well, because you can't restart your computer and be filming, recording your desktop. It just your desktop recording the software doesn't go there. So it's always some glare on the screen. You can't see what's going on there like that. So yeah, here, oops, that was a good example right there. Windows is constantly trying to set itself to the top of the list there. So you have to go and specify, yes, I want to boot off of my flash, and then of course next time you start up Windows, it'll set itself back to the top of the list again. You can't depend on it staying that way. So you got to kind of know how to work your BIOS. Again, it's specific to your system, but there you go. Go look up your computer BIOS, how to boot from USB, and you should be able to run your computer off of your binary code. Good luck to you, and hopefully we can continue with the next tutorial when and if you return successfully back to Windows.